time has finally come to talk about Fallout 4's upcoming update again, as Bethesda Game Studios has finally broken their silence on Fallout 4 Next Gen, and while it's not really the news some of you are going to want, we did also get some details on stuff that will be included in the update, as well as some things that will probably be included in the update for PC players. And also warning you, at some point in this video, I'll probably blabber a little bit about the upcoming New Vegas content as well. But let's go ahead and start with the bad news, at least as someone who has been looking forward to this update for a long time in order to play the game again, as they have now officially delayed Fallout 4's next major update with the following tweet. Thank you for your patience with us as we work on the Fallout 4 Next Gen update. We know you're excited, and so are we, but we need a bit more time and look forward to an exciting return to the Commonwealth in 2024. So in typical Bethesda fashion, they made us wait through the entire year with just a few weeks left to tell us that the update has been delayed. Now, to be clear, I'm not actually upset about this, as any of you who actually follow the channel, I'd much rather a delay than a terrible launch. After all, I have had to endure a lot of Bethesda Game Studios and CD Projekt Red launches, so if they do need more time, whether it's for polishing or whatever they're doing, I'm fine with them taking their time on the update. I want this update to be good. And I honestly wouldn't expect a reveal of the Fallout 4 Next Gen to be that too far away anyways. That is, if they don't plan on shadow dropping it like they did with the Skyrim update, as we can likely expect another Xbox and Bethesda Direct in January, just as they did last year, where I could definitely see this update alongside plenty more, considering how much Xbox and Bethesda has lined up for the somewhat near future in 2024. It's probably more than some of you realize. But here is where I'll have an issue with this update, and also where I find this delay kind of weird. As if they are only delaying it to have it closer to the Fallout TV show, which is something I mentioned was a possibility in the Fallout 4 is about to change forever video, and all the update is a frame rate and resolution boost on console, a handful of bug fixes, and new creation content, I will probably lose all of my sanity points. Which is why I beg the question, is this update more than they're leading on? As if we take a look back at the initial announcement, which again was over a year ago, and break that down, it really just sounds like it's going to be the bare minimum for this kind of update, and not something anywhere near that of The Witcher 3 Next Gen, for example. As we know, it's coming to Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and PC. That's awesome. It includes performance mode features for high frame rates. This just sounds related to a console 60 FPS performance mode, which yes, Fallout 4 on current gen still don't have, other than the FPS boost mode on Series X, which actually drops the game all the way down to the Series S's 1080p settings. So not exactly ideal. And this also isn't possible on PS5, so it's likely just related to console on this front, but we'll speculate on what more this could include later on in the video. They also mentioned quality features for 4K resolution gameplay. This is where things once again get kind of weird, as it's specifically noting quality features for 4K. And we know this isn't just to increase the game resolution to 4K on consoles, considering the game is already 4K on the current gen systems. So this is where there might be more to this update than meets the eye, but again, I don't really want to speculate in this section of the video as to what that could actually be. So onto the bug fixes, which is something a lot of people actually memed on in the comments of my last video, but as I'll cover later on in the video, they did actually include a number of bug fixes in the latest Skyrim update that made the update a little bit more worth it for the people that don't install a ton of mods. And lastly, bonus Creation Club content, and we all know where that's going, especially if you're aware of the recent Skyrim update. So just from that announcement, the assumption would be it's not that big of an update, especially for PC players, where this would mostly boil down to broken mods. But we know a bit more about this update than some of you might know, and that's really just thanks to the recent Skyrim update, as it's essentially now confirmed that the new creation system is coming to Fallout 4, and this is thanks to an update Bethesda made to the Steam page for the Fallout 4 Creation Club the other day, following the Skyrim update, which is now called Fallout 4 Creations, with the Fallout 4 Creation Club credits being renamed to Creation Credits, an updated description, and a new key art for creations. So the new creation system is coming to Fallout 4 with this next gen update, just in case some of you wanted a little bit more bad news. That being said, that update also included a number of bug fixes, which we can definitely expect here, as well as new features I think we can come to expect for PC as well, including official ultrawide support, meaning with this update, the game should now officially support 16:9, 16:10, 21:9, and 32:9 aspect ratios, official Steam Deck support, something that is increasingly popular, console window improvements, which is actually something I quite loved about the Skyrim update, and creation kit upgrades, but I don't think there'll be as many as there were for Skyrim. Now, hopefully it won't also come with nearly the same amounts of issues as that Skyrim update, as that is broke Steam functionality, broke mods more than expected, and even console mods are having issues, which thankfully Bethesda is working on and are even in communication with some mod authors to introduce a new patch. But here is where we get into full-blown speculation territory, as with the delay, after making everyone wait a full year for it, I would think and also hope that this is more than just a tiny patch for consoles. So I am expecting at least some form of graphical improvements to the base game based off of the mention of quality features for 4K resolution gameplay. As to what that could be, I honestly have no idea, but if they wanted to do the bare minimum, I could even see this being just the high-resolution texture pack, which is currently only on PC, being introduced on the current-gen consoles. And this would be yet another case of PC kind of getting shafted with no improvements from this update, but it's within the realm of possibility, something I could see happening, and anything more than that is just us not tempering our expectations anymore. As there are some wild pieces of speculation going around the Fallout community, with some people suggesting that they think the game is getting ported to the Fallout 76 version of the engine, or chunks of it are going to get back ported to Fallout 4. And while I don't think that's impossible, I think it's just very, very unlikely, especially for a free update that Bethesda isn't really putting any emphasis on. So unless that's their goal, not saying much and then trying to knock everyone's socks off, I just don't see this update as being anything that meaningful. And for anyone who's confused, don't understand why something like that would be such a big deal as an upgrade, I would say it's mostly due to the new rendering engine that Fallout 76 has, or as some of you may remember,
16 times the detail.
Which a lot of people misunderstood and twisted that statement, but it's because of the insanely improved render distance and being able to render things like seeing the different weathers across the map. And I think if they were to reach that point with this update, we would honestly be reaching Fallout 4 Remaster territory, which is why I would say to absolutely not expect it. Now, the big one I want to address again is that new Vegas build they temporarily had as a testing branch for Fallout 4 on Steam. Which to me, there is really only two potential possibilities, as I mentioned previously, beyond BGS just straight up trolling us. The first of which is more reasonable, that being New Vegas-themed creation content, which is something I can definitely see them doing. I just question why they would make an entire testing build for it if it's not something of scale. Which makes me think of a creation where we travel to the New Vegas Strip, sort of like we saw with the Fallout 3 creation, that being Capital Wasteland Mercenaries, where we traveled to the GNR station from Fallout 3. That seems well within the scope of possibility. But as I brought up last time we spoke on this subject, my Wild Wasteland speculation on this is a Fallout New Vegas remaster or remake, whatever you want to call it, in the Fallout 4 engine, whether it's getting upgrades with next gen or not. The only reason I bring this up is because of the Xbox leaks, which were confirmed as real from the FTC documents, where we saw that Bethesda's release schedule included remasters for Oblivion and Fallout 3. And if you're going to remaster Fallout 3, why wouldn't you also remaster Fallout New Vegas? And as a potential explanation as to why it wouldn't show up on the leak, it could potentially not be developed by BGS themselves. After all, Obsidian is also under Xbox Game Studios. As for some worried about the remaster terminology, Skyrim Special Edition was referred to as a remaster as well, but it was the game ported to an upgraded version of the engine and got a complete facelift. Of course, it now looks dated once again, but it was a pretty noticeable upgrade. So could this be related to a Fallout 3 remaster or remake? Probably not. Of course, this is peak levels of copium that I'm reaching here, and if we want to get super wild, since we're already derailed, we could even say that the Beta 2 build that popped up around the same time was for the Fallout 3 remaster. Now we're getting really wild. In fact, hey, Fallout 3 also got a new build on Steam just 15 days ago called BC_beta, which BC makes me think of backwards compatibility, but backwards compatibility with what? It's all a mystery. Now, getting back on track from that copium derailment, I also want to cover my PC-focused wish list for this update. So we're still sort of in copium range, but these are things that I think are more reasonable for this update and are minor upgrades when you compare it to the suggestions that we're going to see the game ported to Fallout 76's engine. The first of which is an uncapped frame rate. This is something that shouldn't be too hard for BGS to implement, but would be a game changer for the game on PC, especially considering how broken their VSync and FPS cap functionality is. It would just be great to have this built into the base game. Second, an FOV slider. I don't think I really need to explain this one, as the functionality is already in the game engine. You can change your FOV with the console, so simply having a slider in the settings menu would be fantastic. In fact, they have finally introduced one with Starfield, so I'd love to see them go back and add one for Fallout 4. Heck, do it for Skyrim while you're at it. Of course, I'd love to see some general performance optimizations, especially when we're talking locations like downtown Boston, Corvega Assembly Plant, and so on. These are terribly optimized in the base game, and I think they'll need to address it anyways to truly achieve the performance modes on console. That is, if they want them to be stable. And another big thing related to performance I'd love to see them find some way to tackle is the pre-combines issue, which, as some of you might know, if a mod moves or modifies an existing object in a cell, it completely annihilates any form of optimization, absolutely tanking performance. This is above my pay grade, so I have no idea how they could tackle this issue, or even if they can, but it is one that plagues Fallout 4 modding, and if they found a way to navigate it, I think this alone could probably win them a lot of brownie points with the modding community. I'd also love to see them address some of the long-running PC issues, such as the God Rays option being broken in the launcher, the weapon debris effects crashing the game. I would love to see them completely remove mouse acceleration, and when I say that, I mean nuke it from the game, don't even have the option to enable it. And the X and Y sensitivity not being synced, you need to fix that. And beyond all of that, if they really wanted to show that they really care about PC, the introduction of modern PC-focused tech like NVIDIA DLSS with FrameGen, NVIDIA Reflex, AMD FSR supports, and so on, I think would be a big win in my eyes, and would make PC feel like they're getting a next-gen update as well. Of course, I'm fully aware a lot of this is achievable with mods, and it is all very unlikely to come from BGS anyways, but I'd love to see all of this in the base game to make the baseline unmodded experience far superior than what it is right now, and give this update a lot more purpose on PC, mainly to make PC players feel like they're not being shafted by a console-focused update that primarily will just break their mods and add paid mods in return. And while we're still on the topic, I'd love to know down in the comments, what is one thing they could add to this update that would make you feel like it was worth it to you, both for the waits and the expected impact on mods? Especially considering how disastrous this update will likely be for Fallout 4 mods. And just to be clear, there's not anything BGS can do to prevent that. Script extender mods break with updates. They are version dependent, and BGS can't really work around that issue. So this update will break mods, and since it has been more than 4 years since the last Fallout 4 update, the community isn't used to having to deal with broken mods for this game. Some mod authors for FRSC plugins have long left the community, and even the more recent Skyrim update, which wasn't game-changing by any means, broke a lot. Not just mods, but also the game itself. And this update could come with some even more detrimental changes, such as being compiled with a new version of Visual Studio, which alone could break things just as much, if not more, than the Anniversary Edition for Skyrim. And if they make changes beyond that, such as class changes, or if this is the massive remaster kind of update that some are expecting, things will only be worse. Now, one of the best ways to avoid this update, in my opinion, is the GOG copy of the Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition, which allows both disabled updates and version rollback. It also doesn't include any of the Creation Club content. So if that sounds like something that interests you and you want to support the channel in the process, you can find my partner link for it at the top of the description. But of course, this update could end up not being a Modpocalypse kind of update. This could end up being a mostly useless update for PC that doesn't touch much. And really, all we would need to hope for is that the script extender and address library can relink everything to make the majority of FRSC plugins just work. But after seeing the recent Skyrim update, I have become a lot less hopeful for that kind of painless transition. For that reason, my biggest hope is that BGS is going to work with the script extender team ahead of the release of this update, as they've been doing with the Skyrim updates, to ensure the transition is as smooth as possible. Because again, BGS doesn't want to break these mods. It's just a side effect of updates. Just as mods of this type break for every game like Cyberpunk, Minecraft, or you name it. and I can assure you the developers of those games also don't want to break mods. It's just the reality when mods are version dependent. But hey, beyond that, if you want to stay up to date on Fallout 4 Next Gen, I will be covering the update in depth whenever we get details, which will hopefully actually be in 2024 and might even be super close, like I mentioned, with a potential new Xbox and Bethesda Direct in January. Whether we'll see this there or not, we'll just have to wait and see. But in the meantime, I'll be covering everything else BGS and CDPR related. So if you'd like something else to consume in the meantime, I'd suggest starting with my coverage of the latest Skyrim update if you happen to miss it, or you can check out the other video that YouTube has selected just for you. I know, you feel so special, don't you? But that's it for this video. Thanks as always for watching, and until next time, this is Apoqsi, signing off.